Another PC tactic is playing to people's basest sexual passions. This is where the sex issue does kind of matter. I mentioned earlier, my interest in the story, my political interest in the Catholic story has more to do with our understanding of freedom and rights and liberal modernity. But my interest in WAP, my interest in the Grammys, my interest in Cardi B's performance a couple nights ago, that actually does have to do with the sexual aspect, because the left, certainly since the 1960s and the sexual revolution, but even before that, the left recognized that by arousing certain sexual passions, you can deprive people of their control over their higher faculties, and you can make them easier to control. I will spare you the full WAP performance between Cardi B and some other musician. I guess she a musician, I guess, during the event. But just take a listen to one brief passage.
I'm talking WAP, WAP, WAP. That's a wet, wet, wet. Now make it rain if you wanna see some wet, 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 From the top, make it drop. That's a wet. And a mop. That's a wet. I'm talking WAP, WAP, WAP.
So you can't even be mad. You can't even be angry if you just look at this, because I think you know I've mentioned this before. I'm not the most hip guy when it comes to popular music. I haven't listened to many Cardi B arias in my life. I haven't tuned into them. So this really is pretty foreign to me whenever I see this sort of thing. And watching it, I'm not the sort of person who is immune to desires of the flesh, okay? I'm not saying that there's no way to interest me However, that does not interest me. That performance does not arouse me in the slightest, because it is grotesque. It's not like, do you ever wonder when you watch old movies, or you, pick up a history book or something, about 100 years ago, we joke about it now. If a woman showed, a little leg, just lift, there's a joke, she lifts up her skirt to show her ankle, men would go crazy, because the culture was so repressed, the culture was so focused on maintaining certain sexual boundaries, that any time you would transgress it even a little bit, it was pretty sexy. And then over time, as sexual mores began to be eroded, you would require more and more to stimulate you sexually. So, then it became women would wear even looser clothing, or then it became women would wear bikinis, and then it became, even I was watching some movies from the 90s over the past few weeks, and even the way that sex was hinted at there, and this was not that long ago, it was not nearly as grotesque as it is now. But because now we've lost all boundaries, because now we're in a culture that is saturated by high-speed internet pornography, for one, and then even in the pop culture you get stuff like WAP, because of that, we're just kind of desensitized to it. And so you need more and more and more to stimulate you. I suspect this is why you see pornography proliferating as it has. You're seeing now porn getting so violent that you had under the Bush administration, the federal government prosecuting pornographers because it became so violent. Sure, if you have a culture where young boys are exposed to this at a very young age, you're just going to be desensitized. But don't you think, if you're finding WAP really arousing to you, hasn't something gone wrong with you? If that's what you need to stay stimulated, don't you think there might be a problem with that? What we are told is that being able to WAP ourselves all day long is somehow the height of freedom, right? What we are told by liberal modernity is that Cardi B, bumping and grinding on a stage with that other chick and yelling about her WAP, that is the height of liberation and empowerment and, I'm woman, hear me roar. But of course that's not true. You just look like prostitutes, right? There's no There would be no difference. But if you were to show that video maybe 10 years ago, people would think it was porn, right? But now it's actually mainstream entertainment that kids can watch. They can't watch Dumbo the elephant on Disney Plus, but they can watch WAP on TV. Is that empowerment? No. Is that liberty? No. That is the opposite, actually, because the conservative view of liberty, the classical view of liberty, the Christian view of liberty, all of them recognize that liberty and licentiousness are not only not the same thing, they're opposites. The more you give in to your base appetites and desires, the less free you will be. The man who sins is a slave to sin. Our free government is built for a moral and religious people. It's unfit to any other kind of people, according to John Adams. The left, though, has made this excellent little trick, this very clever little trick, where they've conflated those two terms. And now we get very confused by all this sort of stuff. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Michael Knowles Show. To check out the full episode, hit the link in the description or download the Michael Knowles Show wherever you listen to podcasts.